Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Leroy Jenkins here, coming at you with a little bit of something different here. Coming at you with a Berserker guide. This is going to be more of a practical guide rather than a hey, this is like the best skills, tripods, all that stuff. That stuff will be in the description below. So if you want all the stuff like tripods, engravings, things like that nature, look in the description. What I'm going to be talking about today is more of a practical sense. Kind of skills, what they're used for, how you're going to fight in an actual setting, the kind of pros and cons of the job as a whole, and yeah. So before we start into anything, I'm gonna say like what is the Berserker class, right? Because that's what we're talking about today. What is the Berserker class? It's a hard hitting, potentially slow, and I'll get into that. Animation locky sometimes, but a incredibly hard hitting, big number, all around tanky, very like beginner friendly class. I am so glad I picked it for like my first time going through a bunch of stuff as well. And I'll get into that. But first impressions of like the job, or the class, since I'm not hitting tier 3. I've done my dailies today. I'm only one part away from getting that above 1302 now, because I'm above it on a bunch of stuff now.
I'm
But
seeing a lot of adventurers lately.
fucking NPCs, man. So what are my like thoughts about the job? Again, it's very tanky, does a lot of damage, beginner friendly, all that good stuff. There are some things that I don't like, mainly being depends on like the kinds of engravings that you have. For the longest time, I ran this thing called increase mass, which kind of like, cuts your attack speed a little bit, but gives you more attack damage. Um, Again, if you want to know the best engravings and stuff like that, that'll be in the description below, as I'm now just getting gold flooded in from my Auction House stuff by me doing my dailies. But your Berserk meter down here, let me go down to somewhere else that I can actually like, what do you call it? Use my skills here. I don't. Let me go there. We'll go over here. Hopefully, just show you guys some stats real quick, as well as some like minor gameplay kind of stuff. So yeah, of course I'm talking about Mayhem Berserker today. There's another one called Berserk Technique, I think. Like if I actually go to the grading menu, yeah, Berserk Technique. I'm not gonna be talking about that today, but this kind of makes your damage window bigger, while Mayhem makes you always in your damage window. In your damage window, or identity gauge in this case, is Mayhem. This burst mode here, as you see, it gives you attack speed and move speed, and then also crit rate, which is huge. The attack speed alone makes like Mayhem, I think, like the best one, because your attacks, as you will see, they happen based on your attack speed. So if I have slower attack speed, as you see, that's pretty fast there. I have pretty moderate attack speed. If you have the increased mass, you actually feel a lot more slow. Like that 10% is huge, and a lot like. But there's something you can get when you get the breakpoint of like 312 skill points. Here you go to the whatever this ability is called, chain sword. There it is. And you get this radio swift attack crack, which gets you more attack speed, which is man, using that in combat, it is no longer a counter skill. It's now just a prep for your other skills, so you don't get animation locked into the boss's hitbox. Like I said, it's big number class. It can be sluggish if you don't have the right amount of swiftness. You're supposed to go like 50-50 on crit and swiftness. For my majority of time playing, I went more all in into crit than swiftness. So I didn't have like this bonus attack speed, which made it feel even slower. But the sluggishness, even if you do get animation locked and you're in some attacks, the damage reduction you get from Mayhem, the fact that you full heal on just the green pots alone, because you only have 30% HP anyway, or 25% HP, is huge. Again, very beginner friendly class. Recommend it heavily. Let's go over the skills here and talk about like what they're more like. So your like classic rotation on any kind of mob is going to be you're going to start with red dust. This is a 30% damage increase, right? Well, if you just do it normally, but because of the tripod we have, it's actually 12% for everyone instead of just you, which makes it, a gain of what, like 18%, right? Over the course, because it's like instead of it's 30% for you, it's 12% for everyone, so that equals out times 4. But red dust, you're going to start with it, and then you're going to straight into finish strike. This is one of the hardest hitting skills in the game, especially if you crit or get a back attack on something. It is just monumentally huge. It has high stagger, weak point. The skill is just amazing. So you go straight red dust, finish strike into. It's kind of up to you. Sometimes it goes sword storm because sword storm also hits very hard, and sometimes it go hellblade. Both these you just like all this stuff you kind of want to dump into your red dust window if you can. The hellblade's kind of hard to get into because it's a channel attack. So if you do have a lower attack speed, this is going to take longer to charge up. So you might miss it if you do sword storm first. So just leave that up to your discretion. Also keep in mind that hellblade is a gap closer, right? It moves you. You jump to a location. I can actually show you the range, but when it comes back up, I'll show you. Use that in tandem with your shoulder charge as a gap closer or a way to get out of certain mechanics. That way you don't always have to spam your dash because it is on a 7-second cooldown and gives you immunity to most things. So you don't just want to use that willy-nilly if you can. So again, the Hellblade is a gap closer. I'm standing right here. You can make it go all the way over here. Use that to either gap close to the boss or perhaps get behind the boss if they're like facing a certain way. The other attacks I'm going to talk about here, Tempest Slash, and also your Dark Rush here. You want to use under the Chainsword buff if you can, because it just makes both of these come out a lot faster than if you wouldn't use it. So again, your basic opener rotation, Red Dust, Finish Strike, Sword Storm, Hellblade, go into Chainsword, Tempest Slash, into Dark Rush, finish up with Strike Wave. Strike Wave is kind of like the hit or miss technique. You kind of just use it as a filler, to be honest. It's very slow, and as you see, the Earth flip tripod that you use makes it hit a lot harder. But it can also some of the hits can miss enemies if they're not big enough. So on the bigger Guardian Rays, that's where it really shines. And then if it doesn't, then it doesn't. You also see me use the Berserk Fury here in the red dust window as well. I recommend if you're going to use the Awakening skill. The Awakening skill does take a second to charge, and it has a double charge system. So if the boss moves, you can miss it. I have missed it a lot, but use it under the red dust window if you can, just for that extra damage buff. You want to be using your skills off cooldown, to be honest, except for probably the shoulder charge, and the strike wave. You don't want to prioritize that over your other skills. Strike wave's your filler. Shoulder charge is just gap close or like as you need, or if the boss is down and you just want some extra damage, go ahead and pump it in. If you can weave it without costing you too much in the long run, if the boss is very mobile. So yeah, that's kind of like the basic rundown of the skills, what you'll be doing like as an opener, and then as the fight progresses, you're just kind of use stuff off cooldown, try and land more finish strikes and hellblades into your red dust window. I have done it a lot of times where I actually, this is a 30-second cooldown, right? So you can get another cooldown and finish strike, but after you do that second cooldown, you're waiting a long time for your red dust to come up. So just as long as you remember red dust in tandem with finish strike, sword storm, or hellblade, and then you can finish up with basic attacks. Even dark rush is really good as 4 as well, and tempest slash. All in all, that's just damage that you're putting out. Anyway, you want to use red dust is one of the main cooldowns you want to use off cooldown all the time. It gives everyone damage, and it is just a great ability to use. So that's basic cooldown timings. I've talked about the engraving a little bit here. Now, for majority of stuff, you just want to max out your class engraving or whatever goes in tandem with your class engraving for this. So you want to max out either Mayhem or Master Tenacity on your accessories if you can. You can go ahead and look for them in the marketplace if you aren't scared to polish off some gold, and I'll have a gold making guide coming in soon as well. As you see, I sell stuff in the auction house all the time. If you ever tune into my stream, I'm always getting that stuff in. But Mayhem, Master Tenacity, if you are running the Mayhem build, is going to be your bread and butter. You can also dabble into increased mass, as it does not hurt you that much. I see a lot of people, especially early, prioritizing stuff like Grudge or Cursed Doll or something. That is for late game tier 3 stuff that will hinder you on most classes more than help you. So don't dabble into that stuff too much. You really need level 3 of that stuff for it to shine anyway, and especially if you're going in through tier 1 and tier 2, that's not worth dabbling into. For the gems here, again, all this stuff is going to be in the description below. If you want to check out like the complete guide, because I'm not going over every little detail. But as you see, those skill cooldowns that I mentioned earlier, such as Hellblade, your Finish Strike, Sword Storm, that are huge contenders for all of these gem cooldowns. And you have some few extra ones, like your Red Dust cooldown, because it doesn't do a lot of damage on its own. You're literally just using it as a buff and a bleed proc multiplier as well. Your Strike Wave does do a lot of damage, especially if you can hit all 4 marks on the target. But it's not something that I would prioritize over the other ones, just because of how slow it comes out as a whole. And yeah, those abilities are just going to be the ones you prioritize the gems in. Now, so for Mayhem, you get reduced to 25% HP, and then you get 65% damage reduction. Now, if you do that quick math, that's 90% of your overall effective health. Now, there's a caveat where you get full healed from your potions, just from doing the green ones, so it kind of makes up for the 10%, right? That way you don't have to use more expensive potions, whatever. Also, you can go to this card set. A very easy card set to do is Full Meat again. Damage minus 12% foes at 50% HP or lower. This will basically just get you that extra damage percent that you're missing anyway, and make you a very tanky berserker that you can just kind of stand and stuff, whatever. Like I said, very like beginner friendly kind of class, I believe. Just quick rundown. Like I said, I felt strong going all the way through. A lot of people prioritize this gear score when it doesn't matter. Gear score is placebo. What really matters is your engravings and your gems. You don't want to break the bank, especially when you're in the early tiers for engravings or gems, that being said. But just prioritize that you're slotting in the right stuff when you can, either when you're doing abyssal dungeons or whatever. Again, for the engravings, I recommend Mayhem, Master Tenacity, or Increase Mass if you can. I wouldn't, again, do not stray too far into Cursed Doll or Grudge early. It is not worth it at all. Do not do it. And then for your gems, like I said, those cooldowns that I was mentioning earlier, and all of this will be in the description below. So that was a quick rundown of what Berserker is, how it feels, total gameplay from like 200 plus hours now on the class, and then of course I have about 1,000 plus hours in Lost Ark as a total. I'll be doing more of these guys as I get in tier 3, more into tier 3, on other jobs as well, or other classes, and then also as I move into the Legion raid segment, which will be coming in the next few months as well. So if you guys enjoy this kind of content, please like, comment, subscribe, all the good shit. If you guys want to see more of it, please let me know what you want in the comments below. See you guys next time. Peace.